Is Kirill Marchenko the superstar winger that the Blue Jackets have been waiting for? He just might be. We're going to talk about that on today's Locked On Blue Jackets.
You're Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am, as always, your host, Jay Foster, here to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly about your favorite team and mine, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Before we get things started, I want to thank everyone for making this your first listen of the day every single day. Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms and over on YouTube. Now, we've got a lot to talk about today, so let's jump right into it. Big win for the Blue Jackets over Carolina. Kirill Marchenko continues to just be the man. Blue Jackets got a game tonight against the Red Wings. That's going to be a preview of the outdoor game in March. And we got to hand out our Player of the Month award, which I don't think anyone will be surprised to hear who that's going to. But let's start off with talking a little bit about the game on Tuesday, the New Year's Eve game. Blue Jackets continue to do well on New Year's Eve, which is a very funny stat, is that I think they're like 9-4-3 all time, or 9-4-2 all time on New Year's Eve. They've won like 4 straight New Year's Eve games, which is, I don't know, I just think it's funny. I think it's fun, and also it's really cool to beat the Carolina Hurricanes, who kind of had the Blue Jackets number the last time these two teams faced off against each other. They won 4-1. Dustin Tokarski had a really great game. But this time it was the Blue Jackets that came out on top. A very solid night from Elvis, a less solid night from Pyotr Kochetkov, and that top line just keeps on keeping on. 2 goals from Kirill Marchenko, a goal from Dmitry Voronkov on the power play as well, 3 assists for Sean Monahan. Just a really, really great night for that trio. And then the kids get it done in the shootout. Adam Fantilli and Kent Johnson with incredible shootout goals. Kent Johnson specifically was extremely good because he clearly watched that Kochetkov. It's still insane that David Severson is like the second shootout choice for this team. Why is this happening? I don't okay. No. Logically, I do understand why it's happening. It's still very funny to me that they're like, "Oh, shootout! Yes, it's Damon Severson time." He does have a pretty good record. I don't think he scored a shootout goal with the Blue Jackets yet, but hey, we keep on trying. And Elvis was good enough. He shut it down, and the Blue Jackets get a win, which I did not see coming. I do want to be a little bit smug and say that I did predict a 4-3 post-regulation win. Did I think it would be in overtime? Yes. Did I predict a Cole Sillinger goal, which didn't happen? Also, yes. But, hey, I was right, and therefore I'm awarding myself points. What I want to talk about mostly is, from this game, though, is Kirill Marchenko, who just continues to be an absolute monster for the team. He's leading the team in scoring. He is on pace for just like a catastrophically good career year. He's on pace for, I think, like 90 points or something like that. 91 points in 82 games, excuse me. His previous career high is 42, which he hit last year, had 23 goals, 19 assists in 78 games. He's already up to 16 goals this season. He's already hit a career high in assists this season. Just an absolute, like, rock star for this team. And I think, obviously it helps a lot that he and Sean Monahan have really, really hit it off. But this guy is so good. Like, it really feels like it's a case of, well, he's helping Monahan and Monahan's helping him. It's not like he's just like a passenger on this line. He is, in a very real way, driving a lot of this offense, which is really, really great to see. And, like, he might be the best winger on this team. Full stop. Like, this team lost, obviously, 2 of their elite wingers over the summer. There was real conversation about who was going to step up in those roles. Obviously, Ken Johnson was in the conversation, but Kirill Marchenko is far and away, I think, the best player on this team right now. You could make an argument for Werenski, who's continuing to do just stupid things and put up stupid points as a defenseman, but like Kirill Marchenko has really rounded out his game. Like he scored 21 goals in his first season and had 4 assists. He got to like, I think 18 or 19 goals before he registered an assist that year. It was wild. It was so funny. Last year, he figured out playmaking. He had 19 assists, which was fully 15 assists more than he had the previous season. This year, like I said, he's already hit a career high in assists. He's got 26 in 38 games, and he hasn't stopped scoring goals either. He is getting it done at even strength. He's getting it done on the power play, which has finally started to, they're finally starting to see dividends on the power play. Again, literally, I think for the first time since Sam Gagner was on this team, the power play looks like good and effective. And not to jinx it or anything, but I don't feel like just declining a power play every time they get given one, which kind of started to happen a lot last year. It was very much oh, they have a power play. Well, they're probably going to get scored on shorthanded. So can we just decline the power play? This year, I'm like, oh, okay, no, this is fine. Actually, this is fun. I'm enjoying myself. Will it last? Almost certainly not. But a big part of that is Kirill Marchenko, who's currently second on the team in power play points. 13 of his points have come on the power play, 7 of his goals. So he is, only 1 of his goals have come on the power play. I was reading the wrong stat. A Locked On Blue Jackets classic. Dmitry Voronkov is the guy killing it on the power play right now. He's got six of his, I believe 10 goals have come on the power play, which is very funny. But Marchenko, 13 power play points, 12 assists. 7 of those are primary assists as well, which is not nothing. The only player with more power play points on the team is Zach Werenski, who has 18 of his points have come on the power play. But they're the only 2 players that have hit double digits on power play points. So like the engine really is driving through those 2 on the man advantage, which is really, really great and fun to see. I could talk about Kirill Marchenko forever. I'm not going to, because I have to talk about other things, but I really wanted to just kind of talk a little bit just about how much he's grown over the past couple of seasons. And like, we talked about this, I think, not this summer, but last summer, I believe Hayden and I talked about that draft, which would have been the 2019 draft, I believe, or the 2018 draft, where they got Liam Foodie in the first round and Kirill Marchenko in the second round, and how Liam Foodie didn't really turn into kind of the first round pick that everyone wanted. But if you flip those 2 players and you imagine that they got Marchenko at 14th overall or whatever it was, like that's such a great pick. And so the fact that they got him at 40 something is so good. Like, and he's locked up, not long term, but he's under team control for at least a couple more years for a very reasonable amount of money. So let's see how far this can go. And then we'll worry about what he needs to get paid in like 2 summers time. Because I do think we are going to have to worry about that if he keeps up the pace that he's on. Like I said, he's on pace for 91 points this season. Last season, I believe Johnny Gaudreau led the Blue Jackets in scoring with 68 points, I want to say. So he would be fully over 20 points more than the highest scorer from last season. Superstar, like genuine rock star stuff for Kirill Marchenko. He's got to keep it going though. So we're going to talk about tonight's game against the Red Wings. Again, who needs to have a big game for the Blue Jackets? Spoiler alert, it's Kirill Marchenko again. But we'll talk a little bit about the Red Wings, what they're doing, and how they're looking recently. Obviously, they've got a brand new coach, which should add an interesting wrinkle. And I'll talk about that in just a little bit here as well on today's Locked On Blue Jackets. First, I've got to tell you about Game Time. I love live events. I love to go to last-minute Sharks games. Sometimes we finish work, we're like, oh, we don't have anything to do tonight. The Sharks are in town. Let's pay $18 and go and see a very bad, fun hockey team. And I do that with Game Time. And they don't just have sports either. They've got music, they've got theater, they've got comedy. And they've made it even easier to get tickets for your favorite events with their brand new feature, Game Time Picks. It filters out the fluff to only show you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jackets, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Red Wings, because the Blue Jackets haven't faced them yet, and it should be an interesting matchup, because the Red Wings have a brand new coach, and that coach is Don McClellan, who the Blue Jackets basically tried to hire before pivoting to Dean Everson, and here's the thing: it worked out really well with Dean Everson. I've liked this hiring a lot. Todd McClellan was my first choice, and I think obviously was the organization's first choice as well, but didn't work out. Now he's with the Red Wings after they got off to, I wouldn't call it a disastrous start, but they're not doing great. They're 15, 18, and 4 so far on the season, which for a team that really should have started taking steps towards being good like last season and potentially this season, is not ideal. And, they are right on the verge of getting stuck in that kind of Buffalo zone of, oh, we'll be good next season, we swear. We'll be good next season, we swear. We just need to add one more piece, but like the Buffalo Sabres have been saying that since 2013, and it's 2025, and they're still at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. So, the Red Wings really don't want to turn into that. And they have good pieces. Lucas Raymond is a really, really good young player. Mo Seider, one of the best young defensemen in the league. They've got pieces coming up. Like, I'm a big Simon Edvardsson fan. I'm a big Jonathan Berggren fan. The problem with the Red Wings, I think, was that the veterans they signed were not maybe the veterans that they should have signed. So, like, Vladimir Tarasenko has 14 points in 36 games for this team so far, which I think they wanted more from him. Patrick Kane is starting to show his age a little bit. He's got 17 points in 32 games. JT Compher, 19 points in 36 games. Like, it's looking a little rough out there for the Red Wings. They have a weird goalie situation going on at the minute, in that they're carrying like approximately a billion goalies. I suspect we'll probably see Cam Talbot tonight. And he's been fine for them. He's got a 906 on the season. He's 6-9-2, which is like not great numbers, but honestly for the Red Wings is kind of good numbers when you look at kind of the underlying stats of the entire team. This team confuses me because they should be better than they are, and yet for some reason they don't know how to score goals is kind of the biggest problem. Like, they're 28th in the league in goals for per game. And they also don't know how to not allow goals either. They're 25th in the league in goals against per game. Power play is great. Penalty kill is awful. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I assume that we'll see Cam Talbot tonight. I assume we'll see Elvis Merzlikins tonight for the Blue Jackets. He was very solid against Carolina. Did do crime, but I believe that's his first crime of the season, so I will allow it. Oh no, it's his second crime of the season. Well, now he's on thin ice. They did score on that power play though, so like probably it balances out. But 3 goals on 35 shots, a 914 save percentage. That's 2 back-to-back good starts for Elvis. Probably means he's going to be not as good tonight if we look at like the pattern of, oh, he has a good game and then a bad game and then 2 good games and then 2 bad games, and then you rinse and repeat that forever. So we are probably due an Elvis, not a great Elvis game, but considering the Red Wings don't really like to score goals, we'll see how it goes. It should be a fun game. I think these two teams will match up against each other well. It's going to be fun to see kind of the pre-outdoor game matchup. What I do think is funny is that the outdoor game is actually the season series finale between these two teams, and they do play again literally 2 days before the outdoor game is the game in Detroit. So I'm sure there won't be any bad feelings that like continue over to the next game. Again, literally the next game. They play February 27th and then they play March 1st. So like there might be some fireworks at the outdoor game, which will be fun. In terms of tonight's game and in terms of predictions, I'm going to say the Blue Jackets win. I think it's going to be a 4-2 win. I think I said Cole Sillinger was going to score during the Hurricanes and he didn't. So like, do I pick him again and like just hope that I'm right eventually, or do I go with the safe bet and Kirill Marchenko loves to score goals. He's got 5 goals in his last 5 games. He's got 9 points in his last 5 games. He just finished the month of December with the second most points for a Blue Jacket in a calendar month. I believe the record is Artemi Panarin with 25, which is insane. But Kirill Marchenko had 19 points this month and doesn't seem like he's slowing down. So I think I might just go with Kirill Marchenko as my prediction for tonight's goal scorer. And we'll see how it goes. Blue Jackets have a chance to win 2 games in a row, which is exciting. We'll see. Should be fun. Now that I've said that, it's going to be just the worst game that you can possibly imagine. It's going to be, the shots are going to be like 12-11, and it's going to be just the most awful game. But we'll see. Blue Jackets should come out on top. And then we'll be able to figure out, hey, maybe we'll be able to answer the question of whether we should have just hired Todd McClellan after all. But we're going to take another quick break, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the player of the month for December. And I don't think anyone will be surprised when I tell you who it is, but we'll do that in just a second here on Locked On Blue Jackets. First, I've got to tell you about FanDuel, because the NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel has got a million ways for you to pick up a W. You can score, you can bet on which players are going to score touchdowns, how many points each team will score, who's going to score the first touchdown. Like, there's so many different ways that you can win on FanDuel. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Honestly, just pick the Chiefs to win the game this weekend and put $5 on it, and you're probably going to get $250 in bonus bets. That's like the safest bet I can think of, really. So do that at FanDuel.com. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jackets. I'm sure it's going to shock exactly 0 of you. Let's talk some more about Kirill Marchenko, who is my choice for player of the month. Like I said, he had 19 points in, I think, 11 games this season. This month, excuse me. And I believe this is the second time that he's been given this honor. I think he won in October. Obviously, Zach Werenski won in November. And I considered giving it to someone else in the sake of fairness for December. But honestly, Marchenko has been just so good that it felt disingenuous to be like, well, let's let someone else have a go. You know, like the best player should win the award, regardless of how many times he's been the best player before, you know? Since December 19th, he is leading the NHL in both goals and points. Small sample size, yes, it's like 2 weeks and they just had, 4 days off. However, that's not nothing. I think he's tied with Nate McKinnon, which, like, there is worse company to be in than scoring the same amount of points as Nate McKinnon, truly one of the more terrifying players to watch on the ice. He just keeps stepping up. I feel like every time I'm like, right, okay, I know what Kirill Marchenko is as like a player. He does something else like cool and fun and new. He's got a hell of a shot on him. We all know this, but he's a really smart player. He can play physical. He maybe should play physical a little bit more than he does. I know that I'm not usually like the biggest proponent of, hey, play super physical and hit everything that moves, but like he's a reasonably sized dude. He can throw his weight around. If he did it just like a little bit more, I think that would be fun, especially, you play on the wing, you should be able to kind of crash and bang around if you need to. But he keeps going from strength to strength, and he might be the best winger on this team, like, since Gaudreau, or even, like, since Panarin, quite frankly. Like, Panarin is the best winger this team has ever had. People might get mad at that. Rick Nash is also a winger. I think I stand... No, you know what? I think I stand by what I'm saying. If Artemi Panarin had stayed for longer, it wouldn't even be a conversation, but like for the 2 seasons that he was here, he was absolutely flat out one of the best players in the league, but Kirill Marchenko has the potential to join that kind of the Artemi Panarin, the Rick Nash level of wingers on this team. And that's I believe that. But again, people might get mad at me for that, but hey, it's my show and I'm allowed to have an opinion on it. Honorable mentions do go to Zach Werenski and Sean Monahan this month. They both finished, I believe, with 16 points in the month. Zach Werenski, which I believe ties his record for most points by a defenseman in a calendar month, which he set, I believe, last month in November. So 16 points in November, 16 points again in December. Let's see if he can go for 17 in January, because I don't think he's done stepping up yet either. Here's the thing as well with the Blue Jackets is it doesn't feel like they're done taking steps. Like Kirill Marchenko is, I want to say 23 or 24. Like he's entering his prime. That dude still has a couple gears to go, I bet. Like, Werenski, yeah, this is probably as good as he's going to be. He's, I want to say 26, 27. He's in his prime, This is probably as good as Werenski is going to get. And, like, he's been pretty damn good for this team. This is not me saying that, like, oh, well, he's going to bottom out and it's going to be bad. Like, he's been fantastic this season. This does feel like the peak of Werenski's, like, skills, This does feel like his ceiling. Marchenko, I feel like, still has a couple more ceilings to go through. Like, he's got a couple more stairs to climb. And then you look at all the other young guys on the team. They have been getting better month in, month out for this team. I know everyone's frustrated by Adam Fantilli's sophomore slump, but, like, Cole Sillinger did the same thing, and look what he's doing. Kent Johnson did the same thing. Look what he's doing. Like, Dmitry Voronkov, I guess, is immune to a sophomore slump, which is very funny, but Fantilli's going to be fine. And this team looks great, even with him struggling. So, like, when he figures it out, like, there's a world where in, like, 5 years' time, the top line of this team is Kent Johnson, Adam Fantilli, and Kirill Marchenko, and they all have 100 points at the end of the season. Like, is that, like, the absolute best-case scenario? Yeah, probably, but it's also possible, which is really, really fun. Anyway, that's my player of the month, Kirill Marchenko. We'll see what happens in January, see if anyone else steps up. I'm waiting for... Ken Johnson has been, like, this close for so long. Like, I really, really would love for him to step up and become even more dominant. And he's been great for this team. He slowed down a little bit in the month of December, but he's still got, I think, like, 21 points in 23 games because he missed, I think he missed 14 games due to injury. Would love for him to step up and have just an absolutely monster January. Like, that's my hope, is that I would love to give Kent Johnson player of the month in January. So that's what we're manifesting right now. That's all I've got for today. Tomorrow I'll be back. We'll talk about tonight's game. We'll do the good, the bad, and the ugly. And thank you for listening. Making it your first listen of the day every single day. Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms, on YouTube, and on SiriusXM. I've been Jay Foster. You can find me on Twitter at _Jacob Foster, JAKOBFORSTER. You can find the show at LO_Blue Jackets. If you have comments, questions, criticisms, email me at lockedonbluejackets@gmail.com. Once again, thank you for listening. And until tomorrow, make sure you stay locked on.